I'm Victoria, and this is What Victoria Read. Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today is the 4th of March and I'm coming in to open this vlog. The eagle eye amongst you will see that I'm wearing exactly the same thing as I was at the end of the February wrap up, which I'll link in the description, because yeah, I literally just pressed stop on the camera, on my phone, and we're going straight into the opening of the March vlog. So this week has been a bit of a weird one. I was on strike again on the 2nd of March. And I spoke in the February wrap up about what that's like, and it doesn't get any easier. It was stressful. There was loads of horrible stuff online and in the media that's just frustrating and makes me angry, particularly when politicians are making comments. Let's not start me off on that particular rant. So it's been a bit of a weird week. However, now my stomach's growling. However, yesterday we celebrated World Book Day. We did it a day late because of the strikes on Thursday, and I dressed up as the Mad Hatter. And if you follow me on Instagram and Twitter, you've seen those images of me dressed up as the Mad Hatter. And it was so much fun. I was completely out of my comfort zone. I even took a spare outfit in case I panicked before the kids arrived and needed to change. Like, fancy dress is not my thing. I was just completely out of my comfort zone, and as I said before, there's nothing like having to stand in front of teenagers all day to make you really self-conscious. But actually it was so much fun. Nearly all the staff dressed up. The kids were really into it. Loads of the lower school kids dressed up, not so much the older ones, although there were a group of year 10 girls who are like 14, 15 who dressed up as the aliens from Toy Story, which was hilarious. They looked so good. It was great. And it was just a really fun day, and it was nice to be like properly involved and be part of the fancy dress and all that stuff. So I'm glad I did it, but it was definitely pushing me out of my comfort zone. This weekend, Gary and I are by ourselves, don't have Charlie, is with his mum. And I have decided to take a weekend off. I spent Thursday, which was strike day, marking mock papers. And I know there'll be people that shout at me for working on a strike day, but it was either do it on Thursday when Gary was working, or do it today when he's not. So by working on Thursday, it means we can have a full weekend. I can have some time off, like 2 solid days, and hang out with my husband. So to me, it was just a really easy, obvious choice. I was still joining in the strike by not going to school. And obviously what I do with that time is up to me. So I've got a weekend off. I'm filming today. I've just filmed the end of my February wrap up, starting this vlog. I'm also going to film a massive unhaul. Like, if I move the camera, like 62 books or something, and by the time this goes up, that will be up, so I will link that in the description for you so you can see all of the chaos. Let's just readjust this a little bit, that's about to unfold. And I'm filming my recommending booktubers video, which is always such a lovely one to film, so I'm gonna film those, and then Aoife and I from Pretty Purple Polka Dots are doing a live show for Danny Brown this afternoon, which should be a lot of fun. And again, I will link that in the description. And then tomorrow, Gary and I are going to a giant flea market that happens a few towns over from us every so often. We've only been once before, but it was really fun. So we're going to go again and get some breakfast probably before we do that and all of that fun stuff, and just have a nice like moochy day. So yeah, that is what I'm up to. I've been talking for like nearly 5 minutes. I have finished 2 books so far this month and DNF'd a third. So let's talk about those. Let's talk about the books I finished first. My first read of the month was Problem Child by Victoria Helen Stone. This was gifted to me by the lovely Charlene. I think it was Charlene. I want to check now. Yes, it was the lovely Charlene, last month. And I picked it up straight away. Literally the day it arrived, I was like, oh yes, please. Because I read Jane Doe in February and I gave it 4 stars, 4.5. Let me consult the blue reading notebook. What did I give it? Did I read it last month? Yeah, Jane Doe, 4.5 stars. I don't know where my brain is today. I absolutely loved the first one, and Charlene was kind enough to give me the sequel, not the prequel. I didn't love this. I gave it 3 stars. It felt really whingy. It's all about Jane, who is a sociopath, and in the first book she's on a revenge mission, and I thought it was really fun and tense and dark and very adult. This one is about her trying to find her niece who's gone missing, who she thinks is also a sociopath from a photograph that she sees, and it was just a bit dull. And it's called Problem Child, but the problem child doesn't show up until like the last 50 pages. That bit I really enjoyed, and I think that's why I gave it 3 stars rather than a 2.5. But a lot of this was just Jane like whinging about the state of the world, and yeah, I'm really glad I've read it. So thank you, Charlene, because it's one of those books that would definitely have been like in the back of my mind for a while, and I'm glad I read it quickly after the other one, so I hadn't forgotten any of the details of the first book. I'd really recommend Jane Doe if you can take the kind of dark graphic content. But stop at that. Like this was not as good. So yeah, that was a 3-star read start of the month. Then I picked up one of the other books that I was gifted at the end of last month, which was Careless by Kirsty Capes. I think this was Jo, wasn't it? Yes, it was. The lovely Jo and Alfie gifted me this. I gave this 4.5 stars. This was amazing. This is literary fiction about a girl called Bess. I'm awful at character names. Yes, Bess, who is 15 when she realises that she is pregnant. And she's in care, she's with long-term foster parents, and she is trying to work out what to do. And the whole book is her trying to work out what to do and then deciding on a course of action and going ahead with that course of action. And it's also about her friendship with, oh my gosh, what is her friend called? I'm literally the worst. But it's, yeah, there's just such a great friendship in here. And oh, I can't find her name, this is so annoying. She's got Eshel, I think is how you say it, whose family from Bangladesh, and she is dealing with the fact that her parents want her to have an arranged marriage sooner rather than later, and she wants to go to university and choose her own husband and all of that stuff. So there's all these things kind of going on around Bess, and it's just heartbreaking. I wanted to reach into the book, grab hold of Bess and pull her out and just hold her and just hug her, because she is shown so little love from the people around her, apart from her best mate. Her best mate is the only one that really shows her love, and she's clearly damaged and hurting and confused. And I just, yeah, it's tough reading in parts, and I think it's maybe for me personally because of what I do for work. I could see some of the kids that I know in Bess, or potentially in Bess, and it was just heartbreaking, heartrending. It's beautifully written. This is Kirsty Capes' debut novel, and I will definitely look for more from her. She is also a care leaver, so she's own voices for at least part of what Bess goes through. And yeah, it says on the front, astounding, heartbreaking, but hopeful, and I would completely agree. It was all of those things. So yes, I thoroughly enjoyed that one, Jo, as much as you can enjoy a book like this. I appreciated it. I definitely appreciate the writing, and I'm glad I read it. So those are the 2 books that I finished, and then this morning I decided to DNF Cunning Women by Elizabeth Lee. I bought this when I was up in Edinburgh with Leanne, Harry and Jean last year, and this is a case of good book, bad time. This is set in Lancashire in 1620, and we're following a girl called Sarah who is considered to be cunning. So her and her family are considered to be witches. And then she's going to meet a boy called Daniel, who is the local farmer's son. And it is really atmospheric, and I read the first 50 pages or so, and it was beautifully written. I was just not gripped, and I think what tends to happen in my reading is I read loads of a similar book type, and then at a certain point I get bored and I completely switch off. And I think for me, the kind of witchy books at the moment just aren't working. So I've decided to DNF it, but that doesn't mean it's a bad book. It's got a beautiful cover. So if you're intrigued by historical fiction, witchy fiction, all of that kind of stuff, I feel like this would be a good pick. It felt quite gothic in the bit that I read. It's just not for me right now, so I have decided to put that one down. So yes, I am gonna go and film a bunch more, and then probably the next bit of B-rolls that you'll see will hopefully be us at the flea market. We'll see if I find anything. Sometimes, I mean, last time we went, we found so much stuff, and it was good because it was just before Christmas. But obviously, might find nothing, might find a whole house full of stuff. I don't know, but I will show you what we do get. And I'm just hoping for a chilled weekend with the husband. It's the 11th of March, Savannah's here to help as well, and I'm realising I probably should have brushed my hair before I turned the camera on, but hey, here we are. There she goes. Yeah, it's been a weird week. It's Saturday again, so I haven't spoken to you all week. I think I took some B-roll, but I'm not sure what I took. We went to the massive flea market a few towns over from us. It's about half an hour away. And we had a nice time wandering around and stuff. We didn't find anything to bring home this time, but we still had a nice time just having a little mooch together. And then it's just been another really hectic week. We're now 3 weeks into term, so halfway through. Year 11 have finished their mocks, which is a very weird feeling because the next time they sit in the exam hall will be the actual exams, which is quite scary. And we also briefly got snowed in on Wednesday, so woke up, was expecting some snow, but woke up to like this much snow. It was wild actually. And because I live about 40 minutes away from my school, they didn't have any snow, so I had to kind of explain to my boss and send pictures and stuff and be like, I'm stuck here, because we live on a very steep side of a hill where our estate is, and just couldn't get off the estate. And even when I get to it, it's back roads for the first 10 miles, and it was just not happening that day. So had a snow day, which I spent marking the mocks, because the English mock had been last week. So yeah, I spent that time marking the literature mock and obviously planning and stuff, and then went back to school Thursday, Friday. Was it? Yeah, Thursday, Friday. So yeah, it's just been another kind of blur of a week. And now it's the weekend, and I probably should be marking this weekend, but I decided to leave my marking at school because this coming week I'm on strike Wednesday, Thursday, so I might as well have some time off now when I really feel like I need it, and then probably work most of that time. And I know I'm on strike, so I'm not supposed to be working, but the job needs to get done as well, so that's what we're doing. So yeah, it's been an odd week. I'm very tired, as you can probably tell from my rambling, and also from how I look. I feel like I look tired today. So we are fully recharging this weekend, well, as fully as you can recharge in 2 days, but we're having a lovely slow morning. Charlie's here, he's 13, so he's happy to just hang out, and it's about 10 o'clock. As you can see, I'm still in my pajamas. I haven't had a bath yet or showered yet, but I will in a minute. I've just been getting the rest of my March content ready to go, so that's all done now. And then I'm gonna have a bath once I filmed this and get on the sofa and read for the rest of the weekend. That's pretty much it. I've got some housework to do tomorrow, but like nothing too onerous. But yeah, I have 2 books to talk to you about, and I have my Patreon candle parcel to open from Lauren, so I'm very excited. It's been here for like 2 days and I'll be like, I really want to open it, but I want to open it on camera so I can show you guys. And I'm having a really good reading time. So I finished 2 books. One I gave 4.5 stars, one I gave 5 stars. So we're off, we're enjoying the March reading. So the book that I finished first and gave 4.5 stars was The Girl with All the Gifts by M.R. Carey. I mentioned this at the end of last month, I think. I bought this secondhand when I went to Bath, and actually by the time this video is up, my Bath vlog will be live, so I will link that in the description. And basically, my year 11's a couple months ago now, I think, maybe it was January time. As part of a practice exam, used a section from The Girl with All the Gifts, and rereading that extract made me want to reread the book. So when I went to Bath, I went to the secondhand book market, and grabbed a copy for like £3. It's quite battered, like it doesn't look too bad that way, but like the spine's really bowed. It goes in quite badly. There we go, that's the better way of doing it. See it there? So it's not in the best condition, but you know, for a just quick and easy reread, it was great. I read this. I thought I read this a couple of years ago. Looked it up on GoodReads, and it was 2014. So 9 years ago, I read this book, which time is wild. And we follow a girl called Melanie who spends her days in a cell underground, and she's taken out every day and put into a classroom, and every time she's moved there are guards who tie her to a chair and put a muzzle on her and are very careful. They've all got guns and all of that kind of stuff, and that's how it starts. And even though this book is such an old book, I still don't want to spoil it, so that's all I'm going to tell you about it. But it's the kind of book that I shouldn't usually enjoy, and if I told you what the actual genre is, you'd be like, surely that's not a book for you. But it's so good. There's so many themes in it. It's about what makes you human, and it's about survival, and it's about found family, and it's about understanding who you are as a person. And I just adored it. It's chunky. It's 500 odd pages, but I absolutely flew through it. 460 pages, so just under. Flew through it. I already kind of want to reread it again. I feel like it's one of those books that I will just reread and reread. There's also a sequel, which I didn't know about, which is called The Boy on the Bridge or something. I found that on GoodReads, so I really want to read that. And yeah, 4.5 stars. I couldn't quite give it a 5 because I felt like the ending was rushed, and it just didn't quite give me that 5-star feel, but I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I would definitely recommend this. Content warnings for violence, wound description, grief, and pandemic. So just be aware of that before you pick it up. It's definitely very adult. There is also a film version that I haven't watched yet, and now I really want to watch it, so I might do that over the Easter break. But yeah, I thought this was fantastic, and I gave it 4.5 stars and would recommend. And then my 5-star read, so I'm just keeping an eye on Sav because she's prowling around over here and is probably up to no good. My 5-star read for the month was one that I picked up on Scribed at random. I'd heard Hilary at Melted Books and Amy at Nonfiction Feminist talk about this book, I think last year, so it was kind of on my radar, and then I was looking for something to read on Scribd, and I was looking for some non-fiction, and this popped up as a recommendation, so I picked it up. It was only 8 hours long, and I flew through it, and I enjoyed it so much that I bought myself a copy. And that book, she's now trying to dig herself out of the room. Sav, hopefully she'll be alright while I finish this clip. Yeah, that book is Cultish, The Language of Fanaticism by Amanda Montell, and such a cool cover. It did get very slightly squashed by Amazon, so thanks for that, Amazon, but there we go. This is what it says on the tin. It looks at the language of cults, and it looks at like the obvious cults like the Jamestown Massacre, What Are Words, and all of that, those kind of cults, the thing that you think of when you think of cults. But then it also looks at things like Peloton and social media and all of that kind of stuff, and I found it absolutely fascinating. Now, like I said, I am a big language nerd, and to me the way that this is written is quite simple. I think it's really accessible, but it isn't going to be a topic that's going to interest everybody. But I think if you are interested in true crime, you should read this. If you like non-fiction, you should read this. If you kind of like non-fiction about social media, for example, I would recommend this. It was just really accessible. I flew through the audiobook. The audiobook's about 8 hours long, and usually that'd take me about a week to read because I would just be reading, like listening to it as I go to and from work. But it was so good, I was just listening to it at home when I was doing chores and random bits and pieces. So yeah, I would really recommend this. I would not be surprised if this makes it into my favourite books of the year, because I just thought it was great, and I'm also obsessed with this cover. And I kind of already want to, pick it back up and reread it, because it was so interesting. So I'll just read a tiny bit from the blurb just to kind of give you hopefully a bit of a better idea, because my brain is really scrambled today. It says, what makes cults so intriguing and frightening? What makes them powerful? The reason so many of us binge Manson documentaries by the dozen and fall down rabbit holes researching suburban mums gone QAnon is that we are looking for a satisfying explanation for what causes people to join, and more importantly, stay in extreme groups. We secretly want to know, could it happen to me? Amanda Montell's argument is that on some level it already has. And yeah, I just thought this was really great. So that was a 5-star and my favourite read of the month so far. Okay, let's open this box that's been staring at me for the last couple of days. As you guys know, I am a member, very proud member of Lauren's Candle Patreon, for her company A Little Bookish. a little bookish company, which I've talked about loads before and I've had loads of candles from. Joined a Patreon in January as a monthly treat to myself. Not that I need that because I already buy way too much stuff. And it's arrived, so I'm very excited. This is the February box. We had the problem, for some reason, Royal Mail returned all of the parcels that she sent out, so it was late, but that's fine because we can enjoy it now. So I've got this little box. Let's have a look together. Oh, it's so pretty. Oh, it always comes, there it is. It always comes so nicely packaged. Okay, so we've got the little Patreon letter, which I will obviously read in a minute, but it's also cute. And then we've got the packing peanuts in here, and then the candle, because obviously I'm part of the candle tier, as you can see. Yeah, we've got all the cute little packing peanuts in there. Okay, let's see what this is. It's clearly pink, because obviously it was February, so it was, you know, Valentine's Day themed. All of her Patreon scents are exclusive, so she doesn't sell them in her shop, which kind of makes me sad a little bit because the January one, I've saved half of the January candle because it was apple scented, which is my favourite thing, and I am sad I can't buy more, but still it's exciting to have something that's exclusive. So let's get this out of the package. Oh, it's so pretty. It's ombre. Oh, it's okay. Let's have a proper look. So you've got the ombre pink, and it's called One True Pairing, or OTP if you're a reader. Sweet pink, that's all it says. Hand poured in the UK, obviously. Oh, and it's got the little, oh, the glitter. Oh, that smells like the Lush bath bomb, the Snow Fairy, kind of. But yeah, it's like floral and sweet, and I want to eat it. So I will definitely start burning that today. How very exciting. Thank you very much, Lauren. I mean, it's so pretty. I will put a link to her website in the description, so that you can go and order loads of lovely candly bits. And obviously if you want to join the Patreon and stuff, the link's there. So yeah, highly recommend. I love having this little treat every month from myself to myself. And now I'm gonna go run a bath, light this candle, and curl up and read. It's the 15th of March and I am on strike today. It's Thursday, and all across England, all of the NEU members for secondary and primary school are potentially on strike today, and tomorrow. It's the kind of biggest part of the action that's taking place in this round of strikes. And yeah, it's a super weird feeling. It doesn't get any easier. I'm in a really odd mood. I'm feeling really flat, really tired, but like not just like teacher tired, like my soul feels tired, and that probably sounds really dramatic to say, but I'm just really drained, and it just feels like everything's really tough at the moment for everybody, and I'm just kind of over it. But yes, that's what I'm doing today. So I'm on strike. I'm actually marking, because what else do I do with my time? And I know I'm on strike, so I'm not supposed to be working. I'm not getting paid obviously while I'm on strike, but I either, like the state that the education system is in right now, I either take today and tomorrow off and do no work and do nothing and relax and all that stuff, and then have to work all weekend when my husband's off, or I work today and tomorrow and get my marking done, and then I can have a weekend off with him. Do you see what I mean? So that's the choice that I've made. So yeah, it's a weird day. I've got a book to talk to you about, and I've got a collaboration with a brand that I'm really excited to talk to you guys about, although actually by the time this goes up, that video will be up already, because that's what I'm going to film this morning. My kind of like nice thing to do is to film this video, and then crack on with my marking. But yeah, I am really excited about that, so that's nice. But yeah, the book that I have finished is The Maiden by Kate Foster. This is a book break arc, so it's published by Pan Macmillan, and actually it's part of Mantle, which I'm assuming is part of Pan Mac because it's come from book break. And this is out in April. This comes out on the 27th of April this year. Obviously that's why I was reading it this month. And this is historical fiction. So we're in Edinburgh in 1679, and we start off with Lady Christian, who has just been convicted of murdering her lover, who is also her uncle, and she has been sentenced to death, and she's going to have to go to the Maiden, which was basically like a giant guillotine machine that was being used to execute the wealthy in Edinburgh in this period. If you look it up online, the pictures are terrifying, which is obviously the point, but it was a scary thing. And she is basically, we start with her in her cell having been condemned, and then we're going to go back in time to see how she got there. And we also have a second point of view, which is Violet, and Violet is a sex worker. She's a prostitute working in one of the brothels in Edinburgh, and we see how the two women are connected. I really enjoyed this. I, going into this, thought this was going to be a 5-star read, and the first 50 pages, I was like, I'm really enjoying this. I did enjoy it overall. I gave it 4 stars, so a really solid rating, and I would recommend it. But there were 2 things that stopped it being a 5-star for me. I didn't have a very strong sense of where we were in history. It's 1679, and we could have been anywhere from like Tudor times forward. And there were a few conversations that some of the characters had, and I was like, that language is way too modern for the time period. And I just didn't have a particularly strong sense of place. You get a really, I feel like you get a good look at Edinburgh and the surrounding towns and villages where all the action takes place, and I liked that. And it feels, really gothic and tough and industrial and all the rest of it. But there was no real sense that we were in the 17th century. So that was kind of disappointing for me. And then there's something that basically the ending I didn't love. I felt like the pace is quite slow, which I was fine with, all the way through, and things are building, and there's some really good twists and turns. I didn't spot one of the twists coming, so that's always nice. And I really love the writing style. And then the ending, it was like we'd been going at a steady pace all the way through, and then suddenly she just sprinted towards the end, as she could see the end in sight of writing the book. It just suddenly sped up, and it was just a bit like, oh, that's not the vibe we've had all the way through. So yeah, I would recommend it. It wasn't perfect. It is a debut, so I will definitely read more from her if she publishes anything else. Hopefully she will. And if you like historical fiction, I would say this is a good one. It's a good, feminist look at kind of how women were treated and women's voices and women standing up for themselves and standing up for each other, and look at morality and all of that kind of stuff. I really enjoyed all of that. There was just a few things that kind of bugged me a little bit with that. So yeah, that was a 4-star. Really enjoyed it. So thank you very much to Book Break for sending that to me. And then the video that I'm about to film, which you'll have seen by now, is for Uddy. Seriously. Yeah, I'll link the video below because I should probably save my gushing about that for that video. But yeah, I was absolutely chuffed when they contacted me a couple of weeks ago and said, do you want to be a brand ambassador? And I was like, hell yes I do. Yes, please give me that. So I will link my code. I've got a discount code, which is Victoria Reads 35. I will put that in the description along with the Uddy link. So if you want £35 off one of these, because they are not the cheapest things, but I absolutely love and adore them. And I've said to you guys before, like, I've only done this a couple of times. I make it sound like I do brand deals all the time, but I only work with brands that I genuinely love. So I did the glasses, which were great, and I wear those all the time. Although I realised the other day I hardly ever wear them in videos, and I don't know why that is. So maybe I need to do that a bit more. And then we did the tandem read along, which was really fun. And then Uddy, which I'm just very excited about. And you'll already have seen this, but I'm very excited to actually finally open this and wear it and all that good stuff, because it's very cool. Look at her with her purple hair. I wish I could have purple hair. I definitely can't with my job. Anyway, stop waffling now. I'm going to go film that video, then have some breakfast, and then start marking. It's the 19th of March and it's been another weird, busy week. Wednesday, Thursday I was on strike. I can't remember when the last time I actually sat down and spoke to you. I should really start checking it before I film clips, but there we go. Yeah, on strike Wednesday, Thursday, which was a weird time. I did spend that time marking. I feel like I've already said this in a clip, so apologies if I'm repeating myself. But choice is to work Wednesday, Thursday, get my marking done, and then have a weekend off with my husband when he's also off work, or do nothing Wednesday, Thursday, but then have to work all weekend. So it was a very obvious choice to me. So yes, that was a weird time, although at the time of filming, the English government have finally agreed to sit down and talk to the unions about the things that we are asking for as teachers and educators and school workers and all that stuff. So hopefully, fingers crossed, like Wales and Scotland have both been able to agree deals, so hopefully the English government will also be able to agree a deal, and then we can just get back to what we want to do, which is teach, and hopefully that'll be it. So yeah, it's been a weird week. And then Friday we were off timetable all day. So a couple of times a year we do a collapsed timetable day where it is what it says on the tin. The kids don't go to normal lessons and we spend the day in tutor groups doing different activities instead. And my year 8 in general was doing communication workshops. I'm a year 8 tutor. And I ended up being asked to be the lead teacher for the day and making sure, like, we had an outside company come in and lead the workshops and all that stuff. But it was up to me, it was my responsibility to make sure that the instructors were in the right place with the right groups, making sure, you know, they knew where the staff room was and toilets and got fed at break and lunch and all that stuff. And then I was with my tutor group almost all day doing the workshop as well. So it was a busy day, but it was good. I was very anxious about being asked to be the lead teacher, but actually it went fine, and SLT were very happy with me, so that was nice. And then we just had a quiet weekend. I'm feeling really drained, and I know I say this at the end of every term, and especially at the end of each big term. Like the half term, the 1 week half term that we have in the middle of each big term. So if you don't know, there are 3 big terms in the British school academic year. So we have September to Christmas, and Christmas to Easter, and then Easter to July when we break up for the summer. And then within each big term we have the half term. So every 5 or 6 weeks, depending on which term it is, we have the 1 week break. Those weeks just aren't enough to recharge the battery. I feel like I get to like a 10% recharge in that week. We've got 2 weeks coming up at the start of April, so we've got 2 more weeks of term, and then we've got 2 weeks off, and I'm so ready for it. I've also started having anxiety dreams about my year 11 sitting their exams. So for example, last night I dreamt that I taught them the wrong play and they didn't know who Lady Macbeth was and failed their exams. So that was great. And I literally, when I woke up, I had to lay there, and it took me a few minutes to be like, they know who Lady Macbeth is, we've done the right thing, I've taught them everything they need. It's just, it's such a weird job. And I was texting my boss this morning, I was like, I had this dream, like, is this normal? And she was like, yeah, this is the start, it will get worse. I was like, oh, great. So that's fun. But yes, today is Mother's Day here in the UK, and so we don't have Charlie this weekend, we have him next weekend. So we're going to my brother-in-law's flat, which will be really nice, not been there for a while, just with the grown-ups. We're going to go and pick up Gary's mum and dad on the way, go over to my brother-in-law's in Bristol, and I think he's organised like an afternoon tea type arrangement, so that'll be exciting. That'll be nice, just be nice to see everybody. And as much as I wish Charlie was with us today, obviously he's with his mum, and sometimes it's nice for us to gather just as the adults and just, you know, talk nonsense. So we're doing that today, and then quiet afternoon, I've got a beef stew already in the slow cooker, and then we're going to come back, and I do need to do some chores and stuff because I did literally nothing yesterday, and then once I've raced through those as quickly as possible, I will then be able to chill, hopefully this like later this afternoon and this evening, and just read. So yeah, I do have some books. I didn't just come in to waffle at you. I mean, if you're watching this video, that's probably what you've come for, to be fair, because that's usually what I do. So I've got 3 books to talk to you about, but also because it's Mother's Day, I wanted to show you the gifts that Charlie chose for me. I did also already show you, it's up there now, the card that he got me, that's in the B-roll, because he's hilarious. But he also got me this. This is such a nice choice. So it's really padded. Like, I kind of want, like, this to be like a sleeping bag. Like, I feel like I would sleep very snugly inside this. So yeah, this lovely book. Oh, I definitely just hit myself in the face with it. Book sleeve, that's the word, and then the matching bookmark, which I adore. So that's very lovely, and it's very nice to be included. I've got a slightly complicated relationship with the stepmom label, but that's probably for a different video. But it is nice to be thought of, and I love that he chose this for me and the funny card, and obviously this as well. So it's all very cute, so that was nice. And then let's talk about books. So the last book I finished, which I feel like was a few days ago now, I can't remember, was Damaged Intentions by Mike Omar. This is part of the Abby Mullen series. I read the first one last month. Steph, my lovely non-Booktube friend, best friend, gifted me the whole trilogy. She bought me the first two for my birthday, and then the third one she gave me for Christmas because it came out in November. I thoroughly enjoyed this. I gave this 4 stars. I didn't enjoy it as much as the first one, which I think I gave 4.5. In this one, we are, obviously it's the Abby Mullen series. She is a negotiator for the NYPD, I think it is. Yes. She's a hostage negotiator. And in this one, her daughter is taken hostage inside her school. There is a group called the Watchers, who are basically an online conspiracy theorist group who decide or think that there is a child selling ring going on happening inside her daughter's school, and so they storm in with guns to try and rescue those children who don't exist, and her daughter gets caught up in the crossfire and is taken hostage, and it kind of goes from there. I enjoyed this. I gave it 4 stars. I really enjoy sorry, Mike Omar's writing. Right at the end of this, there is also a crossover with the Zoe Bentley series. I loved the Zoe Bentley series, and what I really liked was, if you've read that series, it's revealed very quickly like which character it is that it's crossing over with. But there was a certain phrase that's used a lot in the Zoe Bentley series, and as soon as I saw that phrase, I was like, oh, it's going to be that person! How exciting! And because I don't read a lot of series, and I don't read a lot of, like, if an author's got lots of series, I usually pick one. So for example, with Agatha Christie, I love the Miss Marple series, and I'm not a fan of Poirot. So it's really rare that I read enough of a writer's series to see crossovers and Easter eggs and stuff. So that was exciting for me in my own little geeky heart. I did think this was a bit slow paced. Also, there's an overarching storyline that starts in the first book to do with Abby and her past, and I felt like we did not get anywhere. We didn't really get much further forward with that by the end of this book, and I really wanted to. So I think it slightly struggled with that, but I did enjoy it overall. It's very, very dark. You have got content warnings for miscarriage and baby loss. You've got content warnings for obviously guns and violence and a school shooting kidnap scenario. You've also got discussions of grooming. You have got discussions of cults and religious fanaticism. So just be aware of that. There's also a lot of discussion about conspiracy theorists and all that kind of stuff. So they are very adult and very dark, but I really, really enjoy this series. And yeah, 4 stars, solid read. I'm making myself wait until next month to pick up the 3rd book, because I feel like I'm going to be sad when I run out of Abby Mullen stories. And then I've got 2 other books that I just bought myself casually. Don't know who I think I am. But the first one that I bought was Other Women by Emma Flint. This was one of my favourite books of this year. I was looking at I've now got Jack padding around, looking at my StoryGraph, looking at the 5 stars that I've given out this year, but I've given out 4, and this is one of them. I was very kindly sent an ARC by Book Break, but I don't keep ARCs, and I wanted a finished copy, and then I had a look on Amazon. I know we shouldn't be using Amazon for books, that's a separate discussion, but this was really cheap. It was in one of the deals, so I bought it, and now I have this beautiful hardback copy, and it's actually a lot nicer in person than the image on the screen, although I hate that it's got this sticker that you can't take off that says the book club for Radio 2. That's really annoying, but it's got these really bright, vivid end pages, and then I really love this shade of blue. It's very pretty. So yeah, I've now got this on my shelf. I kind of already want to reread it, which is a sign of a great book. So yeah, this was my favourite read for January, and now I own an actual finished copy. And then yesterday I was supposed to spend the whole day just vegetating, chilling on the sofa, not get out of my pyjamas, all that stuff. And then we realised that our favourite deli, which is in the next town over, is closing on the 6th of April. And because of having Charlie and other stuff that's going on, yesterday was the last day that we could go back to the deli and get a lunch from there. So I got dressed and I went to get some food, and we pre-ordered it. And I got into town a little bit before our collection time. So I went and had a little mooch round the bookshops, the secondhand bookshops. There's quite a few charity shops in that town, so I went and had a little mooch, went in the first couple, didn't find anything. Then I went into, was this Dorothy House? Yeah, I went into Dorothy House and I found this. This is The Whistling by Rebecca Netley, which Leanne was talking about a while ago on a live show, and it sounds amazing. It's got one of the creepiest covers I've ever seen. I mean, look at this, like, what is happening here? And it was £1.50, and it's in really good condition. It's a little bit battered on the top, and it's like the spine's a little bit broken here, but for £1.50, I was like, take my money. This has been on my wishlist for ages and I keep watching it, waiting for it to drop in price, and it hasn't. So hardback, really nice condition, I'm having that. And this is a creepy ghost story, I think, about a woman that takes a nanny position in a house, and you've got Mary, who whose twin has died, and like just before the twin died, the previous nanny disappeared, and then there's a faint whistling sound that comes in the night, and I was just like, yes, take my money, I want to read this. So I will probably be reading this really soon, because even just holding my hands and I'm like, should I start it now? No, because I've got about 5 books on the go. But yeah, for £1.50, I was like, yes please and thank you, I will be having that. Right, I've been waffling for well over 10 minutes and I have stuff that I need to do today, so I'm gonna go and see the mother-in-law, phone my own mum as well once she's up. She's probably not up yet. Obviously I'm going to phone her, and flowers and Mother's Day stuff is on the way to her, so that's good. I'm also going to see her in a couple of weeks. I'm very excited about that. But yes, for now, I need to go and get myself sorted out, go and spend some time with the in-laws, come back, get my chores done as fast as possible, and then get on the sofa and read. It's the 25th of March, and this week this channel reached 3,000 subscribers, which I've had a few days with that knowledge of that happening and I'm still completely spun out by it. Yeah, it's wild. I'm also just noticing in the camera, oh okay, I thought I had something on my hair. It's not, it's just a grey hair showing itself off. Yeah, so if you're new and you've arrived in the last week, thank you so much. If you've been here for a long time, thank you so much for being here. If you're just here in general, thank you so much. I mean, genuinely, anytime I post a video and it gets views and it gets comments and people are enjoying it, it really, like, I don't talk about this very much, but it just really spins me out, because from my perspective, like right now I'm just sat in my bedroom just chatting to the camera, and I kind of forget that there are people watching, but it's just really nice that there are that many people that want to watch my nonsense and support my channel. And yeah, it's been a crazy week, because also, like, my channel in terms of subscriber count has been pretty stagnant since last summer, and I've been absolutely fine with that, because there are people that watch my videos and enjoy my content, and that's the point, and I'm enjoying what I'm making, which for me is the point. And I am well aware that I don't do anything particularly exciting in terms of Booktube content, and I don't do like massive reading projects or do things that really push the boundaries in terms of content making. I do the staples, I do wrap-ups, so this is obviously my wrap-up. I do vlogs, I do tags, I do unhauls. I just kind of do the kind of basics and just the sit-down chatty videos. I don't edit really. I still haven't worked out how to put an image on the screen, like to put up a book cover or anything. I still haven't worked out how to do that 4.5 years in. So I'm constantly surprised that there are people that enjoy what I do, because I'm just kind of bumbling along. So yeah, it's been a bit of a crazy time, and Like I said, I've been very stagnant in terms of subscriber count since the summer, which I've been fine with. It's not, you know, apart from when I hit milestones like this, it's not really something I pay that much attention to. So I'd been in the mid 2000s for ages, and then eventually got up to 2,900 and something, and then I went to bed on Wednesday, I think it was, and I was at 2,950. I woke up the next day at over 3,000. It was just like, whoa, what happened? So yeah, it's been a bit of a crazy few days. So thank you for being here in general, whether you subscribed this morning or last week or 2 years ago or 4 years ago. I appreciate you massively. So yeah, that's 3 minutes of me waffling. So if you are new here, that gives you a good taste of what you're in for. So today is Saturday, it's Gary's birthday on Wednesday, so we've had the family around today for a roast, as you'll have seen from the B-roll. I have got 2 books that I finished, 1 book that I DNF'd, and then I've been sent 3 books by Book Break, very kindly from them, and Chloe sent me a book, and also this dropped through my door this morning. I've forgotten the word, postbox this morning. I'm very tired. We're on week 5 of term, so I'm struggling, and it's been a hard teaching week this week. But let's talk about some books. So I finished my reread of Actuate Eve Brown by Talia Hibbert. By the time this goes up, we will have done the live show for Eve, so I will put that in the description for you for Sister Along. I loved this. I think I loved this even more the second time around than I did the first time. I've given it stayed at 5 stars, and actually I always say that Danny Brown is my favourite sister, but I think Eve might have just slightly pushed past her on reread. I just adored this. In case you don't know, the Brown Sister series is a trilogy by Talia Hibbert, where we're following the Brown sisters. Eve is the youngest of the sisters, and she is told at the beginning of the story to act her age, basically. It's time for her to get a job, stop using the family money. Her parents tell her that she has to hold down a job for a whole year before they'll reinstate her allowance, and so she drives off in a rage, and she stumbles across this B&B kind of by accident, that's run by Jacob. He hates her on sight, thinks she's dreadful. He's looking for a chef or a cook, so she bombs the interview. He cannot stand her. She leaves, and he chases after her after his best friend basically tells him to sort his life out. He's like, this woman would be amazing, go and get her. And in that process, she accidentally runs him over. So then she kind of has to stay and help whilst his arm heals. So it's a forced proximity. It's not really enemies to lovers. They're not really enemies, but they dislike each other on sight, to lovers. And I adored it. I just think it's so fantastic. Jacob has autism, and Eve is questioning an autism diagnosis through this, and it was just really, I just adore the way they are together, and my whole full thoughts will have been in that live show, so I will leave that linked. But yeah, this stayed at 5 stars, and it's definitely got a piece of my heart, and I think this might be my favourite now. I think my ranking is Eve, Danny, and then Chloe, because maybe it's that Talia Hibbert's writing just got better and better as we went through. But yeah, and I still have these beautiful hardback editions that I am just obsessed with. Then I DNF'd a book, and it was on audio, so that's why I've got it written on a sticker. Sometimes I DNF books because I'm bored. Other times I rage DNF. This was a rage DNF. And it was for How to Sell a Haunted House by Grady Hendrix. And then the audiobook was narrated by Jay Assaneng and Michaela. Oh, Assaneng. Maybe they're both. I can't remember. I think I've written it down wrong, so I'll put it in the description anyway. But it was onscribed. And I DNF'd at 30%. I was bored senseless. This follows, I think she's called Louise. They called her Lou on and off, but I think it was Louise, whose parents both die. She's a grown woman, living a life, single mum, and she gets a phone call from her brother, who she's estranged from, to say that both their parents have been killed in a car accident, and she has to fly back home to her hometown to help sort out the house and the estate and all of that kind of stuff. And I just really didn't like it. Like I said, I read 30% of it, so a decent chunk. And I was just bored senseless, and it's supposed to be like creepy dolls and stuff in the house. And I got up to after the funeral where she's starting to go through her mum's stuff, and her mum like made puppets and dolls and stuff. And if you've read it, you'll know there's a scene with some squirrels that's supposed to be scary, and I was bored. And I was like, at that point, I was like, I'm tapping out, because it's mostly just all this kind of petty family squabbling, and her brother hate each other, and they were never close as kids, and the parents never told him off enough in her eyes, so he's just got away with loads of stuff where she's had to work. It was all just, I was just not into it. So that was a DNF, and I think I might be done with Grady Hendrix, because for me the Final Girl support group was weak, which I read last year. I loved Horror Store. I loved My Best Friend's Exorcism, and I really enjoyed the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires. I thought they were great, but ever since it's just not worked for me. So I think I might be tapping out with Grady Hendrix in general, but definitely that one was a DNF and a huge disappointment. And then the other book that I finished was The Beautiful Ones by Silvia Moreno Garcia. If you saw my February vlog, which I will link in the description, the lovely Hannah from Letter M recommended this to me on the back of me saying that I enjoyed Catherine House by somebody. So she recommended me this, and I enjoyed this. I didn't love it, and I'm also not, I haven't spoken to Hannah about it yet. I'm not seeing the connection between this and Catherine House, so I was a little bit confused on that. So we're in, actually I'm not even sure we're told, and I think that was the problem I had with Gothic, Mexican Gothic, is it didn't give us a specific like time and place, and no, it doesn't do it here either. It's historical, and we're following, what is her name, Nina, who is basically navigating society. Her family want her to get married. She meets Hector, who was previously in a relationship with her aunt by marriage, I think. And then it was just all kind of like political, almost political games. Her aunt's really scheming. Nina's got some magical ability as well. I don't think I was clever enough for this. I enjoyed the writing style. Writing is beautiful. I enjoyed the end, but there were bits in the middle where I was skim reading. So I gave it 3.5 stars because I feel like it's really well written, but I don't think I got all of it, and it wasn't quite for me. So that's my thoughts on that one. So sorry, Hannah. It was very nice. I don't think that author is for me, because I think I had the same experience with Mexican Gothic, so I just don't think she's quite the author for me, but we have tried. We've given it 2 tries now. Okay, then Book Break were kind enough to send me a parcel with some books in. Let's do the finished copy first. So they sent me a finished copy of The Exhibitionist by Charlotte Mendelsohn. How cool is this cover? I'm going to assume this, well, this is a finished copy, so I'm assuming that's what it looks like normally. And this one is the Hanaran family, and they're all gathering for a weekend of the father's art exhibition, and then something happens. It says each member of the family must finally make a choice, and when they do, once tensions have boiled over and the guests have departed, what will be left of the Hanarans? And I just think it sounds really interesting. It sounds really good. And yeah, it's blurbed by Sarah Waters, who said it's a devastating treat. And we know I enjoy Sarah Waters' book, and actually this font is massive. So yes, thank you very much for that. I'll be reading that soon. So that's literally fiction, I think. Oh, and it was longlisted for the Women's Prize for Fiction. That might be where I've seen it about, but mostly I was just intrigued by this very interesting cover. And I really like family-centered books. I like books where it's either kind of cozy and the family are chaotic but have each other's back, or, which I think this might be, where they have like family secrets and it all gets revealed. So yeah, I'm excited to pick that up soon. And then I got 2 arcs as well. They both come out in July, so I'll be reading them in June. The first of these is All of Us Are Broken by Fiona Cummings. This is the next in the, what is the character called? The detective Saul Anguish. Yeah, Anguish, that's a great name for a detective. The first one of these was, oh my gosh, what was the first book called? I read it last year. It was really good. Into the Dark, that was it. And I really enjoyed that. I read it really fast. I also really enjoyed When I Was 10 by her. But yeah, this is the next in the series, and it says the family falling apart, the couple with murder in mind, and the detective on the trail. So the detective is the series, but like each individual book is different. So yeah, I'm very intrigued by this, and it's something about a violent couple hell-bent on infamy. Missy and Fox have embarked upon a string of ruthless killings. So I'm very intrigued to see how that all works. The last one I read from her, both the books I've read from her have been really dark, so I'm intrigued by this. And this is out on the 20th of July, so like I said, I'll be reading that in June. And then look at this cover. I mean, I'm intrigued and slightly repulsed by this cover, which I take as a good thing. So this is The Centre by Aisha Manzia Siddiqui, I think. Apologies if I've mispronounced that. I will learn how to say it before I review it. And all it says on the back is, welcome to the centre, you'll never be the same. And I haven't read any more than that. I think it's about learning to speak another language, and it's all a bit weird. I think it's going to be like Black Mirror-esque. And Gillian Flynn, the author of Gone Girl, says, not only thrilling but deeply thought-provoking, a combination that is truly rare. And that's out on the 6th of July, so again I will read it in June. So thank you for those, Book Break. And then the lovely Chloe from Chloe Reads Books sent me What a Shame by Abigail Bergstrom. Chloe was on the blog tour for this, I think with Tandem, and she thought it was one that I would like. And she's also really cute because she sent me this. Let's put... see if it'll focus. This postcard, which has got one of the some of the lyrics from Red by Taylor Swift, and she wrote on the back, I thought the words on this card were familiar, a little bit of T Swift. I hope you enjoy this book. Love, Chloe. She's super cute. So yeah, I will be reading that one at some point. It's literary fiction. Oh, it's got the bookmark on it with the reading schedule as well. Cool. So yeah, I'll be reading that at some point. I think this is about grief and possibly addiction or something. Chloe didn't think she was clever enough for it, which is not true at all, but she thought I might enjoy it, so she passed that on to me. And now, because I realised that I've just been talking for 13 minutes and I'm really tired, so apologies if some of that didn't make sense. I feel like I'm a little bit woolly-headed today. I'm going to open this parcel because this has come from my wish list, so whichever lovely person this was, thank you so much. Like, I say it, hopefully I say it every time, but like, I do not expect it at all. It's not a requirement that you guys send me stuff, but I appreciate it every time it happens. So, oh, this is from Joe and Alfie. Congratulations on 3,000 subscribers. You deserve it. Enjoy the school holidays. Won't be long until we're here, from Joe and Alfie. Oh, Joe, thank you so much. This is really kind. What did she go for? Oh, yes. Excellent choice. She went for Perfect Kill by Helen Fields. This is book like 5 in the Luke Carmack series. So that's very exciting. He had never heard himself scream before. It was terrifying. Alone, trapped in darkness, and with no way out, Bart Campbell knows that his chances of being found alive are slim. Drugged and kidnapped from his Edinburgh home, the realisation soon dawns that he's been locked inside a shipping container. But what Bart doesn't know is that he's now heading for France, where his unspeakable fate is already sealed. I'm so intrigued. I love this series. I've given all the books at least 4 stars, I think. Some of them might have been 5. So thank you so much, Joe. That's a really kind of you and great choice. Do I want to read this month? Can I fit it in? Probably not, but soon. Oh, now I've got hiccups. So I am now going to go and tidy my house up after having guests around. It's lovely to have the family around, but I'm going to go and do a quick tidy and then face mask and a bath. It feels like Sunday because the family will be around, but the nice thing is it's actually Saturday. So tomorrow is going to be a chill day. It's just going to be pyjamas and stuff, so you might see some B-roll, but I doubt I will sit down and film. I've got some like life admin to catch up on, and then we are headed in for the crazy last week of term. And those were almost all of the books that I read in the month of March. So last time I sat down and chatted with you, I think I was wearing these dungarees with a different top underneath because I basically live in my dungarees when I'm not at work. And we just finished celebrating Gary's birthday with the family. His birthday was on Wednesday. You can actually see some of his birthday cards up here. You can guess which one was from me. Yeah, his actual birthday was on Wednesday, and I managed to get out of work relatively on time / slightly early, like after the kids had left, but I wasn't there quite as late as usual. And he had some presents. We got a nice Chinese takeaway. I had bought him a cake. For any of you that don't know, I can't bake. Like, I would never bake for someone that I love. So I bought him a little cake, which I think I put B-roll in. I can't remember what I filmed. And then I had the last week of term, so it's all been a bit crazy. It's now the following Monday. I think it's the 4th of April, the 3rd of April. I don't know, it's the start of April. And we've also had our weekend away, which you will see in my April wrap up. So yeah, I'm just coming in. I've got one more book to talk about that I finished, and a little bookish thing that arrived, and then we're going to do stats and stuff. But yeah, the last week of term was very, very busy as always, very stressful as always. My year 11s are very stressed and anxious about their exams. There's just a lot going on as always. But yeah, I'll talk more about our weekend away in the April vlog, because that's where the B-roll for that will be. So the bookish thing that happened was my candle arrived from the Little Bookish Company. If you don't know, I am a member of the Patreon, the candle tier, I think is what it's called. I'll link it in the description. I usually unbox these on camera, but to be honest, this arrived on a day when I was just having a really bad day, and I knew it was from Lauren, and I was like, I'm gonna open it. So I did. I think I took B-roll as I was opening it. But this month's scent, sorry, if you can't tell, I'm really tired and not quite with it today, so I apologise, but I wanted to get this clip filmed so I could edit the wrap up and get it uploading and stuff. But anyway, so this one, if I hide my face, it might focus, maybe not, but this is Goblin Market, and it's called Berry Fluff Cake, and as usual, yeah, as usual, I just want to eat it. It's also got this really cute glitter. Is it melted slightly? I think it has. That's my fault. It's been sat in the sunshine in our bedroom. It smells amazing. It smells like raspberries and cake. Obviously, it's like vanilla-y and berry. What are words? And I'm very excited to burn that now that I've shown you. So that's what arrived from the March Patreon, which is very exciting. Like I said, I will link that in the description. And then the book that I finished was You Be Mother by Meg Mason. This was gifted to me this month in March, because obviously I'm filming this in April, by the lovely Ellen, that was it, who sent it to me with a really, really lovely note. I adored this. This was not what I was expecting. I thought it was going to be like a weird, creepy thriller type book, and like something sinister was going to be going on. I don't know why I thought that, because nowhere on the cover or anything does it suggest that. I think it's only because it says, if only Abby had not told Phil that teeny tiny small lie the first day they met, and I was like, oh, it's going to be creepy. It's not, but I still gave it 4.5 stars, and I thought it was absolutely fantastic. So Meg Mason is best known for writing Sorrow and Bliss, which is not a book that I personally am going to read because of the specific subject matter of that book. But I think this was her, this was an earlier book. I don't know if it was a debut, but this came out in 2017, and obviously because of the fact that she was nominated or shortlisted, I feel like, for the Women's Prize or the Booker, this is now obviously getting more hype, which it should. So we are following Abby, who is a young girl at university, teenager. She's also working part-time to support her and her mum, who has got some mental health difficulties, and she meets this guy whose name I've completely forgotten, Stu, who is Australian. He's there just for a term. He's an architect, studying to be an architect, and they meet, they start a relationship, and she falls pregnant. And when she discovers this, Stu has already gone back to Australia, and so she follows him there. She goes over there, and they agree that they're going to give their relationship a go, they're going to give family life a go. She has their little boy Jude, and she suddenly finds herself in Australia with no friends or family, very isolated. Stu is not ready to be a father. His mother is one of the most frustrating mother-in-law type characters I've ever read. Thankfully, my mother-in-law is nothing like her, because honestly, every time she was on the page, I was just like clenching my fist. It's like, oh gosh, this woman is so annoying. And she is very lonely. And then one day she meets this lady called Phil, or Phyllis. She's called Phil, and it's about their friendship that forms. But that first time they meet, Abby tells a lie, or Phil assumes something and Abby doesn't correct her. And so all the way through of their friendship, you just know it's not headed anywhere good. Oh, hello. It's Molly. Hello. Do you want to come up on camera? She's like, probably not. Look at her. Hi. In her blue collar. Yeah. Oh, you're going to stay? See? Hello. Good girl. And we're off. So yeah, you know this is not going to end well. And it's multi perspective. So we follow Abby's perspective, we follow Phil's perspective, we also meet Phil's daughters and we follow their perspectives and their lives and stuff that they've got going on. And it's very much this look at what it is to be a mother, the different ways people mother, the different roles people take within families and like family dynamics. and I just really adored it. I think it was probably 50 pages too long, and I felt like at the end there were lots of threads being woven really slowly, and then suddenly at the end everything was just like sorted out in this slightly too neat kind of way, which is why I didn't give it the full 5 stars. But I thoroughly enjoyed this. I feel like if you like authors like Sally Rooney, you might like this, but saying that, I really don't like Sally Rooney's writing, and I enjoyed this. So it's a bit of a difficult one to recommend for me because I don't read much like this. But this was literary fiction. It's very quiet. It's about women. It's about mothers. It's about the secrets we keep, and it's about the kind of things you do for family when they need you. So yeah, thank you for this, Ellen. I really enjoyed it, and yeah, like I said, 4.5 stars. That was a very good end to the reading month. So let's do stats, and then we'll finish up this, what is probably a very long vlog. I haven't edited it at all yet as well, so that's a bit of a job for me to do. Anyway, so let's do stats in my beautiful blue reading journal. So in March I read 9 books. So for me, that's not very many. February and January I read 12 books each month. 13 books in January, then 12 in February, so my reading is slightly doing this. But first of all, it's not a race and it's not a competition. And also March was the first month of the year where it was a full teaching month. There was no holidays in March, so that was kind of to be expected. My reading definitely dropped off a cliff last week. I mean, I finished this on the Sunday, I think, or possibly the Monday night, and then I started a few other things that you'll obviously see in my April wrap up, but I didn't really read solidly until the weekend just gone. So I'm not surprised. Pages read was 3,198, which is 104 a day. If you watched my earlier videos on intentions videos and stuff, you'll know I need to read about 150 pages a day to stay on track for my pages goal, but still we're not that far off, and I could definitely catch it up. My average star rating was a 4.22, so even though I didn't read very much, for me the quality of the reading was still really good. I was still enjoying most of what I was reading. My most disappointing is Problem Child by Victoria Helen Stone. This I read at the start of the month. It's my first read of the month. I've already forgotten some of the details. Sorry if you can hear the cats running around. I was really disappointed by this. I thought it was going to be like a 4 or 5 star like the first one was, and I just really didn't enjoy it. So that was definitely my most disappointing. And then my favourite read was Cultish by Amanda Montell. Obviously I also gave 5 stars to... No, that's in next month's wrap-up. This is the problem with doing it together. I also gave 5 stars to Actual Age. Eve Brown was my other 5-star, but I can't include that in my favourites because it was a reread. So this was definitely my favourite read of the month. Highly recommend this. Really recommend the audiobook. So happy that I got myself this beautiful hardback copy. And yeah, that was definitely my read of the month. And then my TBR is currently standing at 39 books. So I think that's come down slightly on last month. Yeah, last month was 41, so just slightly. We're still under the 50 book mark, so I'm very happy with that. And then, so balancing the books, I had 10 books out because I had the 9 books read, plus Cunning Women, which is my DNF. I also DNF'd How to Sell a Haunted House, but I only had that on audiobook, which I don't count because it's not part of my physical TBR. So I had 10 books out. I had 5 books in, which means that I read obviously 5 more books than I hauled. So we are currently in the green. And then the year to date, I've read 12 more books than I've hauled overall for the whole year. So we're doing well with that. And like I said before, it's more just for me to like be aware of and trying to be mindful of the amount of books that I'm bringing in versus the amount of books that are going out. So yes, so that's March. I'm now going to go on and film the start of my April wrap up. So when you watch that, I'll be sat here in this outfit. But let's not pretend that I won't end up in this outfit loads anyway through April, because apparently I live in it now. So yes, please, I was going to say thank you for watching if you got to the end of this slightly rambly vlog. I feel like this might not have been my best month for chatting to the camera because I felt very tired a lot of the month, but thank you guys for being here and for cheering me on. As always, you guys are so lovely to me, and you know, interact with me and chat with me on Instagram and Twitter and cheer me on and all that stuff, and I just really appreciate all of you being here. If you made it to the end of the video, let's have an alien emoji or like a spaceship emoji, something like that, like the little alien guy for the cover of this book, which is my favourite of the month. So yeah, let's have the alien emoji if you've made it to this point of the video, just so I know you're here and you've made it to the end. And thank you so much if you have. Like I said, I really appreciate you being here. So yes, please subscribe if you would like more of this chaos, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks everyone. Bye.